why. But how's it going, Mets fans or Knicks fans, whoever you're a fan of? Big game, big day here in New York sports for both the Knickerbockers and the Metropolitans tonight, both winning in a big fashion. Of course, tight ball games there. Shout out to my Knicks fans. LGK, baby, you love to see it. If you're not a Knicks fan, I'm not trying to offend you, I apologize, but big day for us Knicks fans. But an also awesome day for us Mets fan, as the Metropolitans finally ended their losing skid after being swept there in Tampa Bay to kick off their road series. They get a win in game one of a multi-game set here against the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis by a final score of 4-3. In tonight's show, we're going to go over all the key takeaways from tonight's matchup between the Cardinals and the Mets, innings 1 through 9, as I'll be breaking them down, sharing highlights as you guys can see here right now, the biggest takeaways, breaking down the numbers, of course, from the hitting to the pitching staff and everything in between. Again, everything that you guys and gals need to know about tonight's victory for the Mets, and ultimately answering your questions, comments, and concerns here in the live show. And for my people on replay, let me know your biggest takeaway from tonight's victory down below as you're first watching this. Greatly appreciated. We have a lot of people that are first chiming in live on a replay. Thank you all so much for being in here. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button for your boy before we get rolling and breaking down everything. Greatly appreciated. But more than everything, folks, more than anything, and shout out, of course, to my Twitter viewers. Make sure that like, that follow button, that retweet button. But know that I will only be interacting with our live viewers here on YouTube tonight, as we typically do. But everyone first chiming in, make sure you spam those W's in the live chat right now, folks. I know it wasn't the prettiest win. I know it wasn't the sexiest win, but the Mets need to get in the win column. Now, a game below 500, of course, a much-needed victory for the team in Queens, taking their talents to St. Louis tonight. So spam those W's in the live chat right now, baby. And let's have ourselves a nice, calm, civil discussion regarding the Mets. I honestly cannot remember the last time I did that here on the channel, where it wasn't all doom and gloom right away, and we had a lot of positives, not too much positives to discuss, but definitely play to get into. And yes, there was an absolutely blown call. Harrison Bader was safe there at third base, yet the Cardinals suggested otherwise. We'll get into that in our game inning by inning breakdown, of course, but spam those W's in the live chat, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. And let's also hear the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. Alrighty, folks, now let's get into breaking down this ball game. But I see Sonia, great member, how you doing? BR, great member, how you doing? Frankie, longtime follower, how you doing? Oliver Gutierrez, happy to have you in here. Nicholas, D-Ron, Danny, Zach, going up the list. Jack, how you doing? Why didn't Pete play? Pete didn't play today because he's been pressing like a mofo. He's only like 1 for his past 35, and he has yet to record a hit in his career against tonight's starter for the Cardinals and Kyle Gibson. It was the perfect storm for Pete to not start tonight's game, but he, of course, came in later on as a defensive replacement that we will get into as we break down the ball game together. But everybody, Yoshima, great member, Alan, great member, thank you so much, and Sport Collection, great member, happy to have you in here. Mario, how you doing? This one felt good. Yes, it did, Yoshima. Thank you for the donation. Again, just a very calm night to talk about Mets baseball, because I know you all are wondering what's been going on with Pete Alonzo. We're going to touch on that a bit in tonight's show, and we're going to get into hopefully what can help snap Alonzo out of his funk, which definitely doesn't hurt to have a game where the Mets win today that he wasn't even initially in the starting lineup. So that in itself is a plus, something that we're definitely going to carry as a positive heading into tomorrow's game. But again, everybody, make sure to smash those buttons. Thank you all so much. And of course, shout out in advance to my great friend and supporter, and now a part of the channel as well, Scott, my man Isaac Groffman, who does a fantastic job with individual pitcher breakdowns. Just came out with an awesome thread on Twitter earlier today, or the past day or so, regarding Mr. Brandon Sproat, one of the Mets' young, exciting pitching prospects that you guys need to check out and learn up more on in case you haven't already. Just a lot of exciting stuff to get into. So Isaac, again, does a fantastic job on giving me a rundown on the pitching analysis from tonight's start. Maybe some things I missed about Manaea, or just some more interesting notes that maybe I initially didn't have ready. So we're going to break those down as we get into what transpired on the pitching end. And of course, shout out to my amazing sponsors on the channel at Sower MLB, the best MLB fantasy game out there. And we will be announcing the giveaway winners tomorrow, folks. A little bit more on that later in the show. And of course, America's #1 sports sportsbook that you guys and gals can check out today by clicking the link down below, signing up, and using that code JOIN, JOIN125, for 125% bonus on not your first, not your second, but your first 3 deposits with the amazing, yes, BetUS Sportsbook. But now let's break down the game inning by inning. And of course, guys and gals, if you have any specific questions for me or anything like that, by all means, relay them. Ricky, yes, we already did play this song, my friend. You're a little late to the party there. Apologies on that one, but happy to have you in here. I got to admit, I'm digging the post-game jingle more and more. It's growing on me. There you go, John. Again, maybe you didn't love it initially, but give it time. And you know what I say? I say the more the Mets win, I think the more we're all going to naturally appreciate it. And I purposely have that jingle made solely for when the Mets win ball games, because no one wants to hear a damn jingle after the Mets lost a ball game, especially, right? And again, apologies once more if I'm a little laggy. I feel like I am. I think the video and audio quality is fine otherwise. Let me know if there is anything that's different than what my viewpoint was there. But John, thank you so much for that donation. Really appreciate everybody, and happy to have you all in here. Now, before we get rolling and before I break down everything inning by inning, I just want to make sure that I have everything set up here properly, and I do. All right, guys and gals, we can start cooking. Let's talk about this Mets game and why I, for the first time in a while, can go very even-keeled when breaking down the Mets, because especially if you don't know me, I get pretty hot-headed at times. People know me for my rants every now and then. We ranted yesterday. People know me just for being overly emotional in the right way or the wrong way at times. And, you know, I'm a diehard fan. It's hard for me to suppress my emotions when I not only watch every single game, but I cover them for a living and have for over 3 years now. So it's a bit of a different feeling for me, I feel like, at times than other fans. But at the same time, I also know that there are other fans that are so live or die with this team that they will literally make themselves sick in ways that I won't consistently. Every now and then, yes, but I've learned from my mistakes in recent years, and I'm very excited to break down a ball game where I'm not coming out here screaming at you guys and gals, as I have done plenty over the past couple of weeks when the Mets have been a putrid ball club, to put it lightly. But let's break down innings 1 through 9 now, folks. It starts there in the first inning with 2 outs. Francisco Lindor gets on base via a walk, and DJ Stewart, who gets the surprise start at first base today. And for those wondering, how can DJ Stewart handle first base with Pete Alonzo starting the game off the bench? Well, according to Carlos Mendoza, he has worked heavily there with Mets first base coach, going all the way back to the early goings in spring at first base. So that really what warranted many to say, you know what, we don't want Mark Vientos with the team currently. We don't really have any better backup first base options, and we're going to start Joey Wendell at second base today, which thankfully didn't hurt the Mets, even though I just hate seeing Joey Wendell in the lineup. Even if he's one of the few Mets batters to get multiple hits today, even then, again, I feel how I feel about Joey Wendell, and that's going to be hard for me to personally change. Sean, thank you for the kind words. Happy to have you in here. Shout out to you, Bruce. Happy to have you in here too. Everybody for chiming in live on a replay. Mike, Fagan, how you doing? Zach, Flakerton, all you guys, Sad Mr. Met, how you doing, everybody? But as we're breaking down the ball game, folks, DJ Stewart, he's been so locked in. He has been fantastic. If he is not taking his walks, which he has done better than surprisingly any other batter in this Mets lineup, yes, you heard that correctly, folks. DJ Stewart is getting on base at a better clip right now consistently than Brandon Nimmo, which is absolutely an insane thought. But that's how good he's been on getting on base via walk. And when he's not getting a walk, he's getting himself an RBI double, the way that DJ did in his first at-bat of the day to drive in Francisco Lindor, going first all the way to home on the walk. Massive first run for the Mets to get an early lead. And while they would give up that lead, thankfully, again, they still win this ball game, and don't win it in a too dramatic fashion where you're really biting tooth and nail at the end of things. You know, not grinding it out maybe to the extent that we just saw that Pacers-Knicks game grind out, where the Knicks, of course, thankfully held on to the victory there the same way the Mets did. If you're a fan of an orange and blue team today, you're pretty happy for the most part. But JD Martinez there, after it's a 1-0 ball game, gets on via walk, and that's all she wrote. As we then get to the bottom of the first, Sean Manaea, who gets the start tonight against Kyle Gibson, the veteran right-hander, Sean Manaea gets himself, a pretty clean inning and gives up a single to Furman, but that's all she wrote. Sean Manaea, who of course has been a heavy fly ball pitcher so far this year, utilized the fly ball and ground outs beautifully today. It was far from a strikeout machine, but held his own and was able to give the Mets 6 strong innings. I'm excited to break down here. Again, nothing crazy, but just did what we need Sean Manaea to do, keep us in the ball game, and Sean did his part, which I greatly appreciate. In the top of the second, Joey Wendell, as we were just speaking of the devil, gets himself a single. Jeff McNeil with a double play right after, very unfortunate and frustrating. Tomas Gano, of course, is going to be recipe for disaster, when in reality, these were guys that are putting the ball in play more consistently than anyone else outside of Brandon Nimmo today, funny enough. But as we get to the bottom of the second with 2 outs for Sean Manaea, you see a beautiful diving stop there in left field, which is why Sean Manaea is reacting. The highlights were there. Jeff McNeil, before he got shifted back to second base later on in the game for defensive alignment, had a masterful catch in left field, a gold glove caliber catch, and that is Jeff McNeil at his absolute best with the defensive ability. Tremendous catch, tip the cap. Awesome stuff there by Jeff. But after 2 outs in the bottom of the second, Donovan gets on with a double, but thankfully the Cardinals could not convert and score there. Mets still up 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the third, where Sean Manaea has himself a 1-2-3 inning, all clean, not strikeout worthy, but a nice 1-2-3 inning there for Sean Manaea. In the top of the fourth, everyone's favorite Met, Joey Wendle, gets his second base knock of the day. The Mets do not bring him in, however, as they still go on with a 1-0 lead to the bottom of the fourth, where Sean Manaea continues to have another 1-2-3 inning. In the top of the fifth, Tomas Nido gets on via a single. Brandon Nimmo with the single, and this is thanks to a poor defensive play, an error, which gets Nimmo up there from first to second. I believe Nido gets all the way to third base on the error. Pretty sure it was Lars Newbar in right field, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. Marte then drives in a run with an RBI ground out, which is huge, less than 2 outs, bringing in that runner in third. How many times have us Mets fans see that not go in our favor? Yeah, even at bases loaded, less than 2 out, and he can't convert. Cough, cough, Pete Alonzo twice yesterday, right? I digress. We advance further here. Marte with the RBI ground out. Francisco Lindor with an RBI sac fly. And the Mets take a 2-0 lead there as we head into the bottom of that inning then with 2 outs. Mason Wynn, the rookie shortstop there for the Cardinals, records a double. Again, another double for the Cardinals in this ballgame, but no offense to show for it. They go down from there. In the top of the sixth, then JD Martinez records his first and only hit of the day. A single. JD got on a couple times today via walks and a single. Nice stop there. And then after the top of the sixth, there is defensive changes, folks. Pete Alonzo comes in to command first base for the remainder of the game. DJ Stewart goes from first base to left field. Joey Wendle gets taken out of tonight's game as Jeff McNeil's taken there at second base. So even after a day where Joey Wendle had himself 2 hits, Carlos Mendoza and the Mets were that quick to snatch him right out of there in the lineup. And again, there's obvious reasons for it. And it's a fairly low bar with the way that Jeff's been swinging the bat. But I trust Jeff's defense every day of the week over Joey's. And that's, again, an understatement. No less, after that happens, we get to the bottom of the sixth. Furman with his second single of the day for the Cardinals. Contreras with an RBI double. Goldie with a walk. And then Herrera right before the inning ends, right before Sean Manaea is trying to get out of this inning, only allowing that 1 earned run there in the sixth. He allows 2 more, unfortunately, as Herrera would drive in 2 and tie the ball game with the double. Sean Manaea's day would be done after that. Thankfully, a quick out there on the play to get the runner out at third meant Manaea didn't have to face another batter. But Sean Manaea's final line tonight, folks, is as follows, as you were about to see here that I'm going to show you. I have it listed there, but just throw it again at you all. Again, happy to have you all first chiming in live on a replay as we're breaking down the latest in Mets land as the Mets take down the Cardinals 4-3 tonight in the first game of a multi-game set there in St. Louis. I'm excited to get to your comments, questions, whatever you got for me. We will get to that soon. But again, appreciate you all being here live and on replay. Sean Manaea again, 6 innings of 6 hit, 3 earned run ball, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. What stands out so much to me? No, it's not the low strikeouts. It's that walk rate. Sean Manaea, what has been far and away his biggest bugaboo so far this season, and that goes without saying for this entire rotation as a whole. It is, in fact, the walk rate. Sean Manaea has been walking everyone and their mother more often than not. So to get 1 measly walk over 6 innings against this Cardinals team is absolutely massive. I'm taking this final line every single day of the week. 3.31 ERA on the season for Sean throughout a month plus. And Sean Manaea records the first win by a Mets pitcher since April 17th. Yes, it has been that long, folks. You heard that correctly. Sean Manaea, everybody, by a show of a scale of 1 to 10 that I love to ask. And for my replay viewers, the same applies. Let me know down below. But everybody watching right now, LFGM, everybody, happy to have you all in here. I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rate Sean Manaea's start tonight? For Sean Manaea to give the Mets 6 innings of 3 earned run ball with only 1 walk, that gives Sean Manaea, in my opinion, a solid 7 out of 10, especially with these pitchers not going deep nearly as frequent as we would hope or love or covet. Sean Manaea, all things considered, I thought he had a fine outing today. I'm giving him a solid 7 out of 10. So between 1 and 10, that's what I'm going with. Let me know where where you guys stand in the chat. And for people down below in the comments on replay, feel free to drop them too. I love reading up on those, especially when I wake up a night after doing post-game coverage for you all. But that's what we had there with Sean Manaea. The rest of the pitching staff got the job done, to say the least. But before I break down more on them, let's get down to really just about this ball game. It actually goes in hand, so let's just jump right to the chase here. Because in the top of the 7th, we see there a big play. And that's Brandon Nimmo driving a home run to right. Why is that important? Brandon Nimmo has a flair for the dramatic in St. Louis against these Cardinals. Let's not forget the amazing home run he hit to cap off the Mets' victory against the St. Louis Cardinals there, where they rallied back to get the lead out of nowhere when they were down by at least 4 or 5 runs in the 9th inning there in 2022. Back in May, if my memory serves me correct, I'm almost 100% certain, May of 2022, the Mets were in St. Louis for a series against the Cardinals. They rallied back tremendously the 9th. It was, again, the Mets had a lot of amazing rallies that we saw there. And truthfully, again, you were thinking, okay, the Mets are probably not going to win this ball game. They rallied back. Brandon Nimmo with the I think it was the go-ahead home run. I could be wrong. It was an awesome moment there. And Brandon, again, having a flair for the dramatic again. 2 seasons later, he basically does exactly that. He gives the Mets the lead with the home run to right. Brandon Nimmo's 4th home run of the year. Please do yourself a favor if you haven't already, folks, and make sure you check out Brandon Nimmo's peripherals on Baseball Savant. Chef's kiss. They are a thing of beauty. They're awesome. And then from there on the pitching end, we see Lars Nootbaar gets a double in the bottom of the 7th, but Jake Diekman has a fine outing. Otherwise, we see there in the top of the 8th, Harrison Bader with a double against his former team. JD Martinez with a fielder's choice, and they called the out there at 3rd as it was a slow roller at infield hit there. Not a hit because he just got on base by fielder's choice, but an infield contact by JD Martinez. Bader goes from 2nd to 3rd. They throw to 3rd. They call him out. They review it. He is clearly safe every single day of the week, folks. And when I tell you that he was safe, it couldn't be more accurate. And I'm going to show you right now, everybody. I'm going to just show you on my phone real quick. Shout out to Jolly Olive, because I know Jolly clipped this earlier today. But the Mets had a clear challenge that was expected to go in their favor because Harrison Bader was safe by a mile every single day of the week there. And unfortunately, they did not give him the call that he should have gone. Look, folks, watch with me. It might be pretty difficult to watch through here, so I apologize in advance. But if you watch closely, Harrison Bader, plenty of time there, folks. Gets in there right before the tag. We can all watch his cleats touch the side of that third base bag before the tag is there by Arenado. And yet somehow after replay, this is still called safe. By a show of hands, let me know in the live chat right now for people that watch a replay, how many of you think that Harrison Bader wasn't safe there? It doesn't take a rocket scientist, nor does it take a biased fan to even realize the common sense behind this, that Harrison Bader was safe every single day of the week, including Sundays. Absolutely ridiculous call. I mean, at that point, if you're going to go the lengths of doing a replay review and still getting it wrong this obnoxiously, this blatantly, what is even the point of having a replay? Because clearly it doesn't matter when things aren't going to go in our favor, because clearly the people were more concerned with the bookies at over under 8.5 runs, right? That was, of course, the emphasis here. Just absolutely ridiculous missed call. I don't know how it gets that far. It's the one thing to have the call run when you're the line judge there. It's another to have the call run after replay. Just complete horse shit. And apologies for the profanity, but that's one of the few times where I'm going to go on a riff. And if the Mets lost this game, I would have been absolutely even more hot-headed about it. But thankfully, this didn't factor into the Mets winning or losing the ball game. And that's very important too, obviously. Okay, camera is... there we go. Focus. There we go. Sweet. Pitching end, Adam Ottavino pitched a beautiful 8th inning. He did give up one hit there that we saw to Arenado, but that's all she wrote. Had masterful strikeouts. Adam Ottavino, a big bounce back outing for him versus the last time he was out there. And the same applies with Edwin Diaz. Edwin, who blew the save yesterday for the Mets, his first blown save since 2022, obviously, has a perfect outing tonight. Again, fastball, a great touch in 98. Lots to like there from Edwin Diaz as a whole, everybody. And now I really want to shift actually into breaking down more on the pitching iron tonight from Sean Manaea and the group as a whole. And shout out once more to my man Scott Groffman for the intel here, because again, we saw Sean Manaea go 6 strong. The sinker was utilized 48% of the time. The cutter was 22% of the time. Changeup 17% of the time, and his sweeping slider a measly 9% of the time. So a sweeper that we know Sean Manaea has in his back pocket, has utilized for nice swing and miss so far over the past year plus since he's been utilizing that pitch. Didn't utilize it too much much tonight. He was very much heavily relying on that sinker and that cutter that we saw, and he didn't have the swing and miss stuff today at all, but thankfully, that didn't matter. He induced a boatload of fly ball outs and ground ball outs, and he did exactly what he needed to do. The changeup was the only off-speed pitch that we saw today that was really working for him, and thankfully, again, he wasn't hurt all that much. He generated a measly 4 whiffs, all of which came from his sinker, which looked solid today. He only threw the sweeper 9 times, and he wasn't feeling comfortable with it, and we all see that happen with starters, right? How many starts have we seen? Even Luis Severino, right? Severino, early on in the season, his first start for that matter, didn't have all of his arsenal the way he wanted to. When you're a starter and you don't have one of your main put-out pitches working, you're going to labor. So for Sean Manaea to not even have the sweeper getting the whiffs that he usually expects and to not have a comfortable grip with it today and still go 6 strong, allowing 3 earned with only 1 walk, very impressive, I will go the lengths of saying, because Sean Manaea is a guy that we have seen be erratic plenty of times, and we know you got to have your stuff working right. And he didn't even have his stuff working all that well tonight, and he still was able to get those outs when the Mets need him to. You know, he had some good luck as well that we saw in batted balls until the 6th inning. A lot of flyouts there, and then overall, I'd say he was pretty efficient with getting his soft contact against the weak Cardinals lineup, of course, taking advantage of this lineup, which the Mets should. The Mets should have never lost a series to the Cardinals yet this season. Yeah, here we are, obviously, because this team, you know, is Jekyll and Hyde. They have a lot of major problems, as we know. But the sweeper, you know, not working all that much for his strikeouts, didn't matter too much. Solid overall outing there for Sean Manaea. And when we get into Diekman, and, you know, Scott, I agree with him, is an interesting decision to put Diekman in after last night, but the control was a lot better. So, you know, especially with this Mets team being short-staffed with their pitching right now, as they've used a boatload of their arms this past series against the Rays, to have Diekman come out and Edwin Diaz on back-to-back nights, and both of them be effective in the way that they were ineffective yesterday, was a great confidence boost for both of them, and it's just an awesome bounce back to see. That's what you want, right? So, again, Diekman looked very solid with the fastball and the slide piece today. Ottavino with a masterful bounce-back outing. As I mentioned, he tunnels the sweeper and backdoor sinker to righties so unbelievably well. His sinker has a 38.3 called strike percentage. The MLB average for relievers is 21%. So he's in the 97th percentile already, and called strike percentage there at 38.3%, Mr. Adam Ottavino. Yes, Adam might be getting old, but he is far from bad, and he had himself another nice outing for the Metropolitans. And when Diaz showed a lot more confidence tonight that we saw with the fastball, he wasn't just trying to throw 20 freaking spam sliders in a row that we've seen at times, but still not locating the sliders to exactly where he wants it. And Edwin, as we know, when he doesn't have the slider working, he could be hating that pitch. So he needs to be heavily relying on that fastball. When he doesn't have the fastball working, he's heavily relying on the slider. When you're a 1-2 punch guy that, again, touches 98 to 100 on the gun, even though we have yet to see Edwin touch triple digits so far this season, and with the slider, again, still sitting in the 90s, yeah, you're definitely going to have problems if you're hating those pitches, because while they're fast and hard, the contact, if it's barreled, that's out of here, right? So Edwin Diaz, a nice bounce back outing for him, and this entire Mets pitching staff very much so needed an outing like today after what we just saw transpire against the Rays. Not only yesterday's 7-6 walk-off loss in pathetic fashion, but also Jose Quintana not even giving the Mets 3 innings to kick off that series, where they, of course, lost 8-7. Again, every single game was a tight one, and it feels like every single game the Mets have been playing now for a decent stretch have been tight one-run ball games, right? I mean, if we take a look at the Mets numbers over the past how many games, I'm sure that would be exactly that. Wardy, I was screaming for Manaea to walk a batter. I don't blame you, Daniel. Thank you so much for being in here. Why did you want him to walk a batter? Did you want him to walk a batter because you had him on over on walks? I'm assuming that's what it was. You can tell Diaz was pissed off about last night. Of course he was. And Diaz responded the best way that Diaz could, which is awesome to see. Shout out to all my live viewers here on YouTube and Twitter. Make sure to smash that like, that follow button, that subscribe button, all that stuff, and let me know your biggest takeaways down below for people on replay too. Greatly appreciate it, everybody. And folks, before we get on to breaking down more about the ball game, I do want to take a quick word so we can hear from one of our video sponsors today, our amazing friends at Yes Sower MLB, because we have an awesome giveaway that is officially that has begun, that we're announcing the winners tomorrow, barring any changes. And as you guys and gals already know, Sower MLB is the best MLB fantasy game out there. It's so easy to play. You can play for free, but you, of course, can not only utilize money to build your team however which way you want, but you can also receive dollars on the marketplace by selling cards. Again, folks, it is in simple terms. If you like MLB The Show, if you like being your own GM for a virtual team that you build build where you utilize cards for separate positions for how players perform actually in real life, then this is the game for you. You are your own GM. You can buy, sell, trade cards on the marketplace, or of course do it with your friends. You enter weekly tournaments, and how you do in said tournaments is based on how the players perform in real life. If you do well in these tournaments that you enter weekly against people around the globe, you have a great chance to win cash prizes, ticket prizes, jerseys, and so much more. And so are MLB. They're going to be coming out with a lot of awesome promos that we're going to be explaining soon, including these monthly promos now where they're going to be having, actually, let me make sure I have it pulled up word for word here, everybody. Just give me 1 second. So are MLB is going to be doing a monthly chase that I'm excited to promote here shortly. And what the monthly chase is going to be is very similar to the tournaments that you already enter, but you'll be entering a tournament each week the same way that you enter for your separate tournaments there. And after a month span, your top 3 scores from those tournaments will be collected, accumulated, and if you do well, you have a chance to gain a cash prize that is significantly bigger than what, say, the initial tournament was that you were entering. So just prizes are a lot better by entering these tournaments too, so make sure you're on the lookout with Sora MLB. But by clicking the link to sign up down below today and enter a tournament, you guys have great chances to, of course, enter giveaways in which we're giving away Mets tickets to 3 lucky winners. Should be announced tomorrow, barring any changes. Was supposed to be today. Couldn't get the info in time. They will be contacting the winners, but I will be telling you guys who they are by their username tomorrow on the channel or so. And one winner will be getting $100 in free credit to build their Sora MLB team by upgrading their roster with dope different types of cards that they have, which again, simple terms, you have, of course, common cards and then you have rare cards. The rare cards you can actually buy on the marketplace and sell for real dollars. And if you have them on your roster and enter certain tournaments with them and they perform well, the times multiplier is much greater with those cards, basically meaning it's rarer, so it's like better, higher, and overall, essentially, the same way that you would in MLB The Show or any other type of game. So the concept is very simple, especially if you understand MLB The Show and understand fantasy baseball as a whole, but it's taking it to in a completely new ball game, which is why I'm so excited to be working with them again for a second straight season. Shout out to Sora MLB, sign up by clicking the link down below today, and good luck to everybody that plays. Now let's get back into breaking down the ball game, folks, as we're going over the latest in Mets land as they win by a final score tonight. 4-3 is your final. I'm doing fantastic, Jacob, especially after a massive Knicks win the way that we saw tonight, baby. It does not get much better than that. Very, very happy with my Knicks, and same thing with my Rangers. Rangers won yesterday, a big one. Knicks won today. Vibes are high at the Garden once again. Your boy hammered Knicks money line on the live money line when they are plus 108. Oh, baby, we're feeling fantastic right now. And if you guys and gals are sports bettors, we of course are going to discuss BetUS before we wrap up the show. But just briefly, everybody, we're going to be doing pregame segments again on the channel soon. I'm hoping tomorrow, barring any changes, we'll see what happens. It's been fluctuating a lot because I've been doing a lot of bouncing back and forth. Just to give you guys a little bit of an inside scoop, I am in the process of moving at the moment, so there's a lot of things going on that front, which has made my availability a lot more difficult for pregame, where at times I'm just getting home in time to watch the game and cover it for you all. So pregame coverage we're going to be more consistent with as soon as humanly possible, but in our pregame coverage, I break down my picks and my parlays of the day regarding all MLB games in their slates. So I usually share a 2 to 4 pick parlay, and you guys can tail as you wish, or of course make your own responsible decisions. Make sure you're betting responsibly. But we've done a fantastic job. We're on a 6 for 6 heater in our last 6 picks. So we're riding high at the moment. And for including basketball, I'm 8 for my last 8. So things are going pretty well for me when it comes to the betting streak we're on right now. So make sure you guys and gals are chiming into the pregame coverage so you can hear my analysis and my thoughts about the upcoming slate of games for that day that we then break down in our postgame coverage if we hit or if we didn't hit and why exactly didn't that happen. But I know we saw Pete Alonzo wasn't in the live tonight, right? And Pete, as I mentioned, has been struggling significantly so far this season. As we take a look at the hitting stats for the Mets tonight, they are as follows, folks. And of course, the hitting stats presented that you are currently looking at are the guys that were in the lineup to end the game. So a guy of Harrison Bader, for instance, and Joey Wendell, pardon me, DJ, could be getting confused here. The case of Joey Wendell, because he got pulled later in the ball game, that's why his stats aren't available there for you, but he did have 2 hits. So let's not discredit Joey there, even though I see very little reason as to why he should be on the roster still. I digress. Against a broken record with that already. Brandon Nimmo, though, 2 for 5 tonight with the 2-run score, the key home run to give the Mets the lead in the victory, a 228 average and a 770 OPS on the season. Starling Marte went 0 for 5 today with an RBI, however, on a ground out. 264 average and 697 OPS. Marte is still trying to get back in a full groove of things, coming back from the bereavement list over this past week or so. Francisco Lindor 0 for 2 tonight that we saw with the run scored and an RBI sac fly. 204 average and 666 OPS, which I absolutely hate for more reasons than one. If you know, you know. DJ Stewart, the teddy bear that I love to call him, because tell me how DJ Stewart doesn't look like a teddy bear. Actually, let me know in the live chat right now, everybody. Does DJ Stewart look like a teddy bear? Give me a simple yes or no answer, or just spam the teddy bear emoji, because I think it's hilarious and I actually love it. I love everything about it. Shout out to my girlfriend. She was the first to say, DJ looks like a teddy bear. I'm like, he actually does. The beard, the face structure, everything. It's perfect. DJ 1 for 3 today with the RBI double. 194 average, 813 OPS, our little Kyle Schwarber. Harrison Bader, of course, came in later in the ball game, 1 for 1 with that double, which was awesome. 286 average, 667 OPS on the season. Got to give credit where credit's due. Harrison Bader, while he frustrates me at times, sometimes with either his base running or his defensive plays, there's never a lack of effort with Harrison Bader, and I really appreciate that about him in his game. And it's been awesome to see him, again, be a tremendous contact hitter to this point already, a month plus in the season. 286 average, I'm taking that every day of the week here for the Mets on the 1-year, $10 million contract, which is Bader, or close to, I'd imagine, right? Probably similar to Severino's. JD Martinez 1 for 3 tonight that we saw with the 273 average, also with an unfortunate 666 OPS. Brett Baty 0 for 4 tonight, 259 average, 689 OPS. Joey Wendell 2 for 3. Speaking of Brett Baty, he also ran into the ump there on the third base side as he was trying to play a ball. I don't know why the guy didn't just move or horizontally instead of moving the way that he was to get out of the way. But they collide. They're fine, thankfully. Joey Wendell 2 for 3, 250 average, 554 OPS. Ugh. Pete Alonso 0 for 1 is 1 at bat, 205 average, 710 OPS. I'll explain here in a minute. Jeff McNeil 1 for 4, 231 average, 617 OPS. Tomas Nido 2 for 3, 226 average, 605 OPS. Love you, Tomas Nido, and a run scored. Nido has been fantastic in more ways than one on the defensive end, and he provides some offense today. Never going to complain there whatsoever. As we take a look at Pete Alonso's early baseball savant percentiles, I will fair warn you, they are horrendous. But Pete Alonso will also tell you that he's been playing pretty much horrendous. And there was a quote that came out yesterday, which I thought was a little interesting, which was someone asked Pete Alonso basically, how do you go about, everything with stuff going on behind the scenes? And Pete replied how, no one cares about the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. They just want me to perform well. I should do better. I know that. I'm wondering what is going on with Alonso behind the scenes outside of pressure that Scott Boras is drilling down his neck as a guy that's in a walk year for the first time in his career. And Pete, who is a very emotional player to begin with, I just don't see how, mentally, is he going to be able to get locked into the way that he wants right now? I think there's actually a level of concern with Pete Alonso right now with how much he's out of it on the mental standpoint because of the lingering stresses with not being extended, being a free agent at the end of the season, and trying to play to the market value to the best of his abilities, right? He wants an absolute bag, rightfully so if you're in Pete Alonso's shoes, as would be the case for anyone else that was in his shoes. But when you have this added pressure, when you've never been through a contract year like this before, everyone handles it differently, and I'm sure this has been impacting Alonso to a degree. They may say in the public eye that they don't, but again, it's common sense. There's so much money on the line, your entire future's on the line. I could see Pete Alonso pressing to a degree and pressing harder than usual when he starts getting a slump because of that exact reason, because there's an added incentive to make sure that he's performing better than what the incentives have been in years past. So Alonso, that has been a frustrating thing, but as we take a look at his baseball savant numbers, everybody, 39th percentile in batting run value, first percentile in base running run value, and just to give you guys some clarity in baseball savant information, if you are good, you're in the higher percentiles. If you're bad, you're in the lower. 1 percentile is horrendous. 23rd percentile in fielding run value, so he has been a horrendous defender so far this year too. XWOBA for Pete Alonso, 40th percentile. Expected batting average, 23rd percentile. Expected slugging, right around the league average at 50th percentile at 387. Still dog shit for what Pete Alonso is and what he's supposed to be. Average exit velocity. This is where we have a major problem, folks. 12th percentile. Pete Alonso has barely barreled baseballs. Barrel percentage, 78th percentile. Still, though, Pete, not locked in at all. Hard hit percentage, 9th percentile. Sweet spot percentage, 30th percentile. Chase percentage, 34th percentile. Whip percentage, 52nd percentile. K percentage, 52nd percentile. Walk percentage, 60th percentile. So the K rate, funny enough, he's slightly above league average, but he's chasing so much out of the zone, and he's not hard hitting well whatsoever. Yes, the barrel percentage is up, but he's struggled mightily to barrel baseballs hard so far this year. And just for some context, even Pete Alonso, going through the ebbs and flows of the season last year, just for some context, average exit velocity for Pete Alonso last season was in the 55th percentile at 89.5. In 2022, he was in the 66th percentile at 89.8. In 2024, he's in the 12th percentile at 85.9. Significant drop off, not good whatsoever. XWOBA, 91st percentile last year. Expected slugging, 93rd percentile. Barrel percentage, 91st percentile. Hard hit percentage, 46th percentile, so just below league average. Sweet spot percentage was 27th percentile. Again, Pete did struggle plenty last year, was inconsistent one, and also that wrist injury didn't help thanks to the Charlie Morton heater there earlier on in the year. Chase percentage was above league average at 56th percentile. So we look at these numbers, and yes, 2022 Pete is the Pete that we would love back more than anything. But the greater problem that we're seeing with Pete Alonso at the moment goes directly in hand with his lack of ability to, again, barrel these baseballs the way that he wants to right now, and he's just not seeing the pitches well. This is a Pete Alonso right now that is swinging at 2 pitches out of the zone and is not swinging at 2 pitches in the zone. And the 2 pitches that he is swinging inside the zone, he's swinging right through them, even if they're 92, 93, doing his best J.D. Davis impression out here. He can't barrel a freaking meatball of a heater, right? What car accident? Yes, Pete Alonso did get in a car accident right before the season began last year. That is another thing to keep in mind. Very true. Let's see here, everybody. Actually, I want to see this because this is going to crack me up if it's what I think. That's funny. Shout out to you, Isaac. Just want to let you know you accidentally called me Scott tonight a few times. I apologize. Isaac Groffman. I don't know why, for whatever reason, Isaac. I think it's just because there's an S and a C, it's making me think that I got to call you Scott, but I know you're Isaac. Isaac, I love you. Thank you so much for being a supporter here on the channel. Thank you so much for being a contributor. That I'm excited to be working plenty more with you throughout the season. And little does Isaac know, I'm going to be talking with him about some stuff in the near future that I've yet to even talk to him about that I think he's going to be happy about. So Isaac, be on the lookout. We will definitely be connecting more throughout the week. I'm very excited to have a certain discussion with you that I'm looking forward to. Is Pete married? Yes, Pete is married. He's happy. He has a dog. Yes, he did have his truck flipped right before the season began last year. He still showed up to spring training, thankfully, but that was a very scary thing. But again, though, Pete's fine. Like that's not the reason for his struggles right now, because he didn't go to the hospital. Like, nothing bad happened to him. He barely had a scratch on him, thankfully. He was fine. It's more the mental with that. And the mental does come into play with the way that Pete Alonso has been laboring so far this season. So again, as we evaluate Pete Alonso, I'm never going to be that fan to say, hey, I want to trade him while I'm off the team right now. But what I will say is that how Pete Alonso rebounds from this or doesn't will very much go in hand with my viewpoint on him heading into not necessarily the trade deadline, but the offseason as a whole. This year means so much for Pete and not only his future, but it means so much for us fans and how we evaluate Pete Alonso. If Pete has another underwhelming year, I assure you the Mets are going to try to bring him back, but are not going to prioritize him nearly to the degree that they may prioritize a Juan Soto hitting the market. And no, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. That's a fact. So it's an interesting one to evaluate with Pete, but I will say this. As the season goes on, if these streaks of nothingness are to a high magnitude consistently, I'm not only going to be one to voice my opinion and call him out, but to just explain how much we should really rethink and evaluate this core group and how we should go about the team going forward. There's a great reality that if David Stearns became Pobo as soon as he wished he could have a couple of years ago, this roster configuration is very different than what it currently is already because of the Billy Upper moves not happening over the past year and a half, right? A lot of differences to be had there. But Pete Alonso, I love the man to death. I had the privilege of meeting him and McNeil last year at McNeil's charity event. Great guy. That was as he was still rehabbing from his wrist injury. So I asked him how he's feeling. He's like, he's feeling good. Even if he wasn't feeling good, I know he probably wouldn't tell me the truth. That's fine. But Alonso is the heart and soul of this Mets team in a lot of ways. And when we don't have Alonzo going, we can't expect to have too much success, and that's a problem. Not that you should be heavily relying on one guy, but Pete Alonzo is your bread and butter home run-wise. He is the guy that's going to drive the most runs this season. He is, without question, unequivocally, the leader of this team, along with Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo, in and outside that clubhouse and on and off the field. It's very important to get Alonzo in the right psyche mentally, because when he's an emotional player, when things are going right, he's locked the F in. And when Pete Alonso's happy and when he feels confident, there are a few batters that I say you should be fearing more in Major League Baseball than Alonzo when he's right and barreling baseballs to the best of his abilities. So that's what I'll say about Pete right now. I know he's laboring big time. I thought it was a tremendous job by Mendy to make sure he didn't start tonight's game. Brilliant move. Of course, Alonzo came in later in the ball game, but that's aside from the point. The big point here is that we were able to have him not start the game, have a little bit of, a refresher, if you will, and to go about his business going forward. And hopefully Pete can slowly but surely, if not right away, get out of this significant slump that he has been in. But folks, before we wrap up the show, let's get into it with our another amazing sponsor on the channel, everybody. One that you all know too well that we spoke about multiple times right here in the live show. And that is going to be our great friends here at BetUS Sportsbook. And in case you guys and gals don't know BetUS, you better listen now, because if you're a sports bettor and you like to bet responsibly, look no further, because BetUS has you covered with all your sports betting needs. We got a 125% bonus promo for you with your first 3 deposits, as long as you first sign up, again, by clicking the link down below, available for you all. That easy to do exactly that. And then let's take a quick look at tomorrow's slate of games, because I'm very excited to get into them. Of course, my NBA picks will be as follows. I'm going to be hammering the Knicks again for game 2. But that's, again, a foregone conclusion type thing. When we take a look at the games tomorrow, we got the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Cincinnati Reds there. Mets and Cardinals game 2. Mets are the underdog currently per BetUS at plus 110. So if you guys love to bias bet, which I personally don't recommend, because bad things happen when you do that consistently, especially when your team isn't consistently good the way that the Mets aren't, unfortunately. A 110 plus, if you're going to be hammering your Mets, definitely a solid bet to do. And as a matter of fact, just because why not, we're going to be hammering the Mets right here for tomorrow's bet, if it will load. My computer is running unbelievably slow at a snail's pace, so apologies if I'm going to be lagging at all here. You can give me 1 second, everybody, as I'm trying to get everything to properly load. Let me delete some tabs. Maybe that'll help here. Again, in the process of moving as well, so I don't have the same exact internet connection that I would back at my previous place, so that throws a wrench into this too. Okay, we're just not going to load today. Fantastic. Well, either way, we're going to hammer the Mets money line tomorrow, because why the hell not? At plus 110 odds, let's give her a go and see what happens there. And as a matter of fact, at plus 110 odds, I'm going to throw down 40 there. That'll win me 55 to 60. So that's what we're going to go with on that bet. If you guys and gals would like to tail tomorrow, go at your own risk. Of course, make sure you bet responsibly. Apologies, I don't know why the website, that's more so just because of my poor connection at the moment. But BetUS, again, has you covered with all your sports betting needs. Check them out today. And in case you're not aware, Jose Buto gets the start tomorrow against Miles Michaelis. Okay, it finally loaded there, everybody. Let's place this bet. And Miles Michaelis, I hate with the burning passion, so I'd love nothing more to kick his teeth in tomorrow and to win this ball game. But I'm going to be hammering there. Mets, I'm going to put 50. What did I say? 40 or 50 down. We're going to go with 40. We'll do 45 on that one. Place my bet. Again, I don't know why it's taking. No, we're not placing 450. Whatever. You get the picture. This thing is working at a snail's pace. Either way, check it out. Make sure you guys and gals do it. And shout out to BetUS as always, who has you covered with all your sports betting needs. We'll see how the Mets do as the underdog tomorrow. I'm taking Jose Buto over Miles Michaelis, though. So just on that simple reasoning, we're hammering the 110 money line. See you Saturday. Dave, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate that. Yes, Dave, I'm actually glad you brought that up. Let's speak on this just briefly, folks, before I get out of here. Everybody, drum roll, please. Funny enough, Dave says this because it is happening. Folks, your boys heading to Citi Field this Saturday. I will be in attendance of Saturday's 4:10 or so game against the Atlanta Braves, everybody. So post-game coverage will be me screaming my head off, win, lose, or draw, exiting Citi Field, mic'd up as I do in the past, leaving games. That's what you guys will be seeing Saturday. I will be there. I have yet to figure out where I will be sitting, so to be determined on that one, everybody. But yes, I will be attending Saturday's game. If you guys want a chance to meet me, if you want to mingle, I'm going to try to get there fairly early to do a little bit of a tailgate. It won't be easy because I got like a 3+ 3-hour hike to Citi Field from where I reside, but no less, once I get there, I would love to interact with you guys. If you guys see me, see a short schmuck wearing the black Mets hat and wearing a jersey, it's your boy, and I'll let you guys know what the fit will be that day. I'll let you know exactly in the coming days where I'll be sitting too, if you guys would like to sit by me if possible, and we can interact, maybe even grab a drink and just have ourselves an awesome Saturday, and hopefully witness the Mets victory. So again, guys and gals, I will be there this Saturday, Mets against the Braves, my first game I will be hitting so far this season. Hopefully it's an amazing one. If it's a heartbreaking one, at least I'll go through heartbreak with my fellow Mets fans. So make sure to see me there. Again, very excited this season, guys and gals. We will be doing some outings where we will be having a premeditated tailgate, whether it's in the Marina lot where the 7 line does a tailgate or wherever. Get there hours early, pop some drinks, play some pong, have a lot of fun, head into the game, scream our heads off, win, lose, or draw, and have fun, and let that be that. So yes, Saturday, first game I will be attending this season. Very excited to be there and hope to see many of you amazing Mets fans there as well. Thank you guys all so much for the kind words. Greatly appreciated. We are going to wrap up the live show now, so you guys can catch me tomorrow, probably around the same time, same place, hopefully after a series victory for the Mets at that point. And stay tuned. We may be going live for pregame coverage tomorrow as well. Thank you all so much for watching. The Mets win a much-needed ball game to be in their favor by a final score 4-3, and we'll see how they do tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this.